This is my grandson Cole, and we are making a case to hold the markers that I gave him to go with his journal Bible for his birthday. And I did some mending on his dad's pants yesterday, and this video is just to show you so you hear what it sounds like when a needle needs to be replaced. Okay, go ahead and sew, Cole. Okay, stop. Did you hear that thud, thud, thud? That means that that needle is a little bit bent because it was really hard going through lots of layers, different places yesterday. So that tells me I need to change the needle. So listen to it go a little bit slower, Cole. Hear that thud, thud, thud? Okay, stop. So that's what you need to listen for. You always change your needle with every project. And if you hear a thud, 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 and you know there's a chance you had hit a pin or the throat plate when you're going through lots of layers, that's what you need to do. This is Londa at Londa's Creative Sewing with her grandson Cole. Happens to be on my birthday, and there's nothing I would rather be doing than making something useful with Cole in the Sunroom Sewing Studios. Can you come in closer? Okay, start.
Okay, I already started. Okay. We can edit that out.
Right here, this is what happens when you have a needle that is not sharp, or the wrong type of needle. If it has a round tip, like a stretch needle, and you're sewing on a woven fabric. Do you see this little pull? That's where the needle was not able to get quickly down through the fabric. So it made a little pull, and that is not what you want. That's a reason why you have to make sure you're always using a needle sharp enough for what you're doing. So here we are. I'm going to change the needle, and I'm going to show you some reasons why I really love the Schmetz line of needles. Now, all of the needles out there haven't come to this level of coating, labeling, and even in my stash they haven't. But I knew that last needle was bad for the reason I told you. I am sewing through several layers of cotton fabric, and I'm even going to have some batting here. So to me, I want a sharp point on my needle. I don't have a whole lot of work to do on this project, so I'm going to come to my little needles that I've used, but they're not used up, they're not bent. I haven't used them for a whole entire big project, so I could continue to use them. And I know most people couldn't understand this, but this says MTX for Microtex. This is ST for stretch. This is nothing for I don't know. And this is DN for denim. If you look at the denim, do you see how they all have a blue bar on them? Oops, this one's, yeah, blue. So a blue bar does in fact indicate jeans or denim. So that is a needle with a sharp point. That's the top color on the needle. Now most of these don't have the bottom color on the needle because they hadn't gotten that sophisticated yet, and it just takes years and years for stock to go through the channels. But for this project, I would want maybe a size 90 or so. So I looked to see what I have here, and in my Microtex section, which is purple, I have a purple with a blue, so that's a size 90. And I think that would work good. Now I say 90, it's a 90 European size, 14 American size. Your brain just starts to work with either the European sizing or the American sizing. Basically an 80-12 is like the middle of the road. The higher the number, the bigger the needle. All right. So of what I have available for this project, I'm going to pick this Microtex needle, which is for fine fabrics, but it has a sharp point. And from my experience, that will work just fine to complete this project. All sewing machine needles have a flat side and a rounded side. And the rounded side is the side with the indentation in it, the scarf. And that's, your needle always goes in from the front to the back. So this needle goes in with the flat to the back, unless it's a very, very old machine. All sewing machine needles thread front to back. Now you have to have this screw all the way loose so that you can have this needle all the way up. Do you see I have my nail under there? And I'm sure instruction books would tell you to turn the power off, but I'm making sure that my foot is far away from the foot pedal. Okay, now that I've got that done, remember we thread a sewing machine with the presser foot up so the tension disc squeezes the thread. I have no pull. Lower it, I have pull. That's my most popular YouTube video. Go and look at it about thread nests on the bottom. Here I'm making the needle threader work, and here we are. One other quick thing, you might note that the needle is not in the middle position. That's because we're having to fix something that we didn't calculate out quite right. I wanted for Cole to be able to sew with the fabric at the side of the foot, but we wanted to move the needle a little bit further over to the right so that we really weren't having a 1/4 inch seam, but less than that. So I came up here and used the needle position on my machine. See, here it is in the middle, and I moved it over to the 8th position over. I think it was, whoops, I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So I can keep my eye with the presser foot along the edge of the fabric, but the needle is really closer to the edge of the fabric than it would have been. Right? I'm being good. I'm taking the pins out before I get to them. Although real world I sew over lots of pins because I use really good Japanese glass head pins. So what I'm teaching my grandson and what I teach all my students in my sunroom sewing school is that if you can think it up, you can make it, and you can always fix anything. Stop. The other thing I wanted to mention is this is how I store my used needles. There's even a used serger upper blade in here, but instead of throwing a needle into the garbage, which could be harmful, I simply have put them in here. The other thing that a used needle is useful for is actually it's strong enough to hang pictures, so you could stick this into wallboard and use that as a way to hang pictures. But this is my safe disposal, a prescription bottle for my used needles.